multipliers. We want to use 1 unit multiplier to convert 32 feet to inches. What value do you start with? You start with 32 feet. I want to convert that over. They say use 1 unit multiplier, so I think you're pretty good with knowing that you're just going to use what they call the railroad tracks. 1 unit multiplier, I'm just going to leave one space over here to the right. And what I want to do is I need to get rid of those feet. This is like a football field. Here's the sideline right here. There's the sideline right here. So your field is out here. F-E-I-E-L-D. There's the playing field, and right over here is where your team stands on the sidelines, right? And I don't want feet out there. Feet can't play anymore. So we're going to kick him off onto the sidelines, and somebody else has to run onto the field to play for him. Who's going to play? Inches. Now they are equivalent to each other because if this happens to be Tyler Callahan, 32 feet, he's going to come off of the field, and who's going to replace him? Eric. Does Eric have the same football jersey number? No. Why does Eric replace him? Because he's the other quarterback. So a quarterback has to be replaced with a quarterback. Equivalent positions, right? You want equivalent positions put back in. That's what we're doing here with inches and feet. They're equivalent, but do they have the same jersey number? No. So we have 1 foot is how many inches? 12. Now, feet, Tyler, came off of the field. Eric is in the game. So how do I write my answer? How would I actually solve that? These are fractions. You multiply numerators together, you multiply denominators together. The way you show your answer, you're going to take 32 times 12, and the units you're left with is inches. This is your answer. I don't expect you to sit there and do this. You don't have to do this. Because some of the calculations are going to get a lot more difficult. Could you possibly do it? Sure. Do you have to? No. You can just show your answer right there in that format. I would take 32 times 12, and that'd tell me how many inches I have. And you think about it, inches are smaller units. If inches are smaller units, are you going to have more of them or less of them? More. It's as if saying that Milo's pretty short compared to Will, correct? And if I ask how many steps does it take to get to the back of the room, what are you going to tell me? Who's going to take more? Are they going to take the same? Milo's going to take more. Why? Because their steps are shorter. So if this is a shorter unit of measurement, it's going to take more of them to be equivalent to that distance. So it makes sense that I would have more, and I'm multiplying in that case. Another example, use 1 unit multiplier to convert, what do we start with? 36 feet. Whoops. 36 feet, they're on the field, right? But all of a sudden something happens. How many unit multipliers? 1. So I'm just going to have one spot right here. Who has to come off? Who has to come off? Unit, feet. Feet has to come off. Who has to go in? Miles. All right, now I asked you to look at conversion factors yesterday and start studying those. What's the conversion between feet and miles? 5,280 feet in 1 mile. So there's 5,280 feet in 1 mile. Now feet came off of the field, right? Miles is in. Is that who we want? Yes. How do I write my answer? You do not have to calculate it. I am not going to ask you to do that division. So you're going to take 36, that's your numerator, 36 times 1, and the denominator is 5,280. Your units are miles. There's your answer. All right, this one. Use 1 unit multiplier to convert 47 and 25/100 inches, or 47 1/4 inches, to centimeters. What do we start with? 47 47.25 inches. How many unit multipliers? 1. So I'm just going to set it up with 1. I need to get rid of, who has to come off the field? Inches. Who has to go in? Centimeters. And there is a direct conversion there. What is that conversion? Milo. 2.54 what? Centimeters. There's 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. So inches has come off of the field. Centimeters is on the field. How do you write your answer? You're going to multiply the numerator, 47.25 times 0.54 centimeters. What's the denominator? 1. Okay. Right there. Centimeters are smaller than inches, so you have more, which you do here. Use 1 unit multiplier to convert. You start out with 42 meters, 1 unit multiplier. Who comes off? Meters. Who goes in? Centimeters. Thank you, Garrett. There's 100 centimeters in 1 meter. You could write your answer as 42 times 100. Can you actually take 42 times 100? Meters, meter units have canceled. The only units shown up in your answer is the person left on the field. That is 4,200 if you wanted to do that. 4,200 centimeters if you calculate it. The next one, though. Now you are asked to use 2 unit multipliers to convert 42 feet into centimeters. So 42 feet is on the field, right? So Tyler's on the field. Tyler's going to have to come off, and Eric's going to go in. But then Eric gets hurt. He comes off the field, and who goes in? Jonah. Jonah is who we want to be left with on the field. I got my wrong units there, sorry. And Jonah is my centimeters, okay? So we have a quarterback replacing a quarterback, but then that quarterback gets hurt, and we got to have another quarterback replacement. What would Eric represent? What units would Eric represent? No, that's Jonah. Inches. So I go from feet into inches. So here's Tyler. He comes off. Eric goes in. Eric's got to come off. And Jonah goes in. As you look at that, what is our jersey numbers here? 1 foot and 12 inches. The next one. Milo told me this before. What is it again, Milo? Centimeters and inches? There's 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. So inches cancel. Feet cancel. So right here, Tyler's off the field. Eric's off the field. And Jonah's on the field, right? So we look at it. How do you write your answer? Across the top, the numerators. You have 42. You're going to take it times 12. And you're going to take it times 2.54. In the bottom, you have 1 times 1, which is 1, which is 1. We don't need to write it, right? Units you're left with are centimeters. Shorten that up so I can put centimeters here. Does that make sense? That's why I had you study those conversions right there. I said, well, the numbers you got to know, 2.54 centimeters in what? 1 inch. 5,280 what? Feet in what? 1 mile. 100 what? Centimeters in 1 meter. 12 what? Inches in 1 foot. Those are the key ones you're going to have to know for right now. Let's look at another one. Use 2 unit multipliers to convert 4 miles, MI, because M stands for meters, MI stands for miles. How many unit multipliers? 2. All right, I know that miles is going to have to come off the field. And I need to be left with inches, right? So go back to your quarterback situation. Miles come out, so Tyler comes out, Eric goes in. What units would Eric represent? Nope. Feet. Then Eric's going to come out and Jonah's going to go in. Feet and miles, what's that factor? 5,280 feet in 1 mile. What about inches in feet? There's 12 inches in 1 foot. Feet cancel, correct? Miles has come off of the field, and we're left with inches. How do you write your answer? 4. Inches. Inches are the only units that are showing up. Easier. On your paper you have 28, 29, and 30. You got that paper on your desktop there?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. What I need you to do is I need you to add to that 5 through 16. Five through 16, that's what's due tomorrow. You got to find perimeter, which is review. Number 5 is review of definition of rectangle, rhombus, square. You can use the terminology of a parallelogram for A, B, and C. One of them is an equiangular parallelogram, another one's an equiangular, equilateral, and the other one is irregular. Determine which one is which. And then you're going to use unit multipliers, and the rest is geometric concepts, working with circumference and perimeter. Yes, Garrett.